Hello everybody. I'm dedicating this video, my last live. I have tremendous works to get ready for Texas. The volume of information I'm getting in emails and papers. Richard, this video is for you on your explosive paper. I just finished it. I'd started a little bit on break times. I didn't get through all of it, but I love everybody how Richard does his plain speak papers, and this one's explosive. It's explosive because it's two world experts. Rand Herschel is a master doctorate in constitutional law from Quebec, and now he is in the United States as well too. Our best minds always move on, folks. They always move on. Canada can't hold them. And the States likes to gobble them up. They love intellectual property. It's pretty crazy, but I want to get to the point of this. Richard Albert, in his paper, with references to Rand Herschel, it's all about Canada, folks. Two masterminds, doctorates of law on constitutionalism, and experts of Canadian constitutionalism. The beautiful part about interacting with these big scale minds in constitutionalism as I learn it is that I see the political actors that are referenced throughout this paper. Not only do I see the political actors, I know all the political history of all the case references that Richard and Rand's referenced and that they've talked about and wrote in other papers, specifically the Supreme Court in the questions of 1981, 2007, and the two questions of 2014. What's explosive here is this, in this monarchy we call Canada. It is King's Court. It's King's Court. On Richard's tweet, after I read the paper, I did post how Supreme Court justices are appointed in Canada. They're done absolutely by the Crown, on the advice of the Prime Minister. Those Crown justices swear a specific oath to that Crown, no different than police officers, no different than the entire justice system, the military, and many other government appointments in Canada. I call that the first class. Constitutional monarchies built off the British Empire, first, second, third class, just like the Titanic, and sadly, there's always a savage class, but we're not going to delve into all that, but this is for Americans as I'm getting ready for Texas. And in this paper, it goes into a lot of different countries and the way their justice systems work. The whole paper is, folks, that Canada has the most powerful Supreme Court in the world. Well, of course they do. It's the oldest King's Court still alive and well today. I assure you, in all the references from 1981, 2007, 2014, twice, on major ideas, Senate reform, Senate bills to see democracy brought to Senate, provinces bringing forward senators to be elected by the people, it never went through. Supreme Court looked at it, it was sent to Crown. Why didn't it go through? Here's the explosive part for Dr. Richard Albert and Dr. Rand Herschel. You guys, it's the political actors that hold that crown of Canada that are manipulating the Supreme Courts of Canada. Why they chose to do different mechanisms, sometimes unconstitutional. No reference to the codification of Canada. No reference to the rules of Canada that are limited, but they're codified. And then other times they just make them up, or other times They seemingly pick an amendment procedure and say, we're not going to do that. And you say, but Dave, the Prime Minister of Canada at the time was the Conservatives. It was the Progressive Conservatives. Here's the problem, Canadians. 2007, when that CPC, Conservative Party of Canada, they had transformed Dr. Richard Albert and Dr. Rand Herschel. If you look at the political actors who held the crown, they were no longer the PCs. I apologize. That's my fault. It's late and I've read too much. The PCs transformed to CPC. Why did that happen? Because there were two other parties that had formed in Western Canada that the Conservatives ate, and they merged. Look at the election cycles of the Crown politicians, those political actors. You'll see it was Alliance, and then it was the Reform Party. You see, when they merged into CPC, it was the political actor, Prime Minister Stephen Harper, who lied to the entire West. He had taken half of the seats that got him into power in a majority that were from those parties of reformers. Look at the two prior mergers to wipe out the entire Western political actors who wanted Senate reform. Look at what they did. He tricked everybody when he put on the crown, and through his Governor General of Canada made it look like he was bringing all the reforms, but he had his Governor General of Canada pick up the phone, the Governor General who appointed all the Supreme Court justices, and in one face, while wearing that proverbial crown, Prime Minister Harper's telling everybody, I'm going to get all the reforms, we're going to go through. But the Supreme Court shot down what should have been in codified rules, a simple amendment procedure to give a democratically elected Senate. That was absolutely the Reform Party's mandates, and non-negotiable for the Conservative Party to make that merger. You'll do it, right, Prime Minister Harper? I will. But when he put on the magic crown, in constitutional crown power, that all the Supreme and Superior Courts of the provinces, who are appointed by Prime Minister, sworn to Prime Minister through Governor General, he had his Governor General tell them in secret what he wanted done, regardless of the Constitution, regardless of simple amendment procedures. And he got to look, with that tremendous crown power on his head, he got to look at all the reformers in the Conservative Party and said, I tried, look, the independent judiciary shot me down. I tried my best. But he had his imaginary crown on his head that nobody can see. That's the Constitution of Canada. The King's Court is his. He was Prime Minister. And in one face, he lied to all the Westerners, all the reformers, telling them he was going to do this. I presented the bill, but the Supreme Court shot me down. Apparently, the amendment procedure doesn't work the way the Supreme Court says, because he's secretly, through his Governor General, forcing the court to do the opposite, saving face to make him look like a hero to all his reformers. Folks, read Richard's paper. That's just one of the 14s. We can go back to Justin Trudeau's daddy. We can go all the way back to Pierre Elliott Trudeau. I don't know why it's so complicated. I wanted a national referendum for all the people, but the court said you're going to have to negotiate with all the provinces. Quebec didn't sign, folks, but that was okay. They stay on the Bill of Rights. I've talked about this too. They stay on the Bill of Rights. Supreme Court says that's okay, but the other provinces can go forward and it's a partial country? Huh? And then in 2014 again we go back under Stephen Harper, and apparently now you need most of the population, most of the provincial crown to agree for a province to leave Canada. It's cockamamie, it's impossible, it's not even bound in international law. Who would create these cockamamie concepts that the court flip-flops on? And the court itself doesn't even follow amendment procedures codified in Canada, doesn't follow rule of law laid out in Canada, or does it? It most certainly does, because it's King's Court. It is appointed and sworn to the Prime Minister through physically the Governor General of Canada. You can go to the UK, that oath of allegiance that's been updated to King Charles III, and you will find that King Charles III is in fact Governor General of Canada for Canadians, on the advice of the Prime Minister, sworn to and appointed by the Prime Minister. So if Prime Minister doesn't like what Governor General does, Governor General's gone. You want to see precedent to that? We just watched Justin Trudeau throw out the NASA nut job who thought she was Queen of Canada, didn't need to listen to a Prime Minister, would slap people around and do whatever she wanted. She's the Queen of Canada. And by all rights, she is, except for she's hired and fired by the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister's going, no, 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 honey. I'm the King of Canada. You're just my visual king. Read the Constitution. She got fired, and he took Chief Justice Wagner, who fully understands the Constitution, the smartest justice in Canada, and put him in as interim Governor General, where he rewrote the entirety of Governor General. Rewrote much about Canada. In fact, he was the one who transformed the idea that it's provincial and federal crown land, at least written in the office of Governor General. And clearly, the Governor General is appointed and sworn to Prime Minister. That's how it works. King's Court. There was another country in history exactly like Canada. Not written before Canada, written after. Do you know what that country was? Nazi Germany. And a man got out of prison. He got out of prison, mentally unstable, ill, and somehow he studied the King's Court system, and he realized he didn't need to win Prime Minister. He needed to go for Chancellor of Germany. Do you know where Chancellor, the noun, and Governor General of Canada, nouns? Do you know what their definition tied to both those nouns is? Exactly the same. In fact, pre-1945, Nazi Germany was a crown colonial constitutional monarchy with different nouns with the exact same meaning in a constitutional monarchy as Canada. Hitler took the equivalent of Governor General of Canada, convinced the Prime Minister to give him all the real crown power that was constitutionally protected. What does Governor General have, or then Chancellor of Germany, Nazi Germany, have? They have absolutely all power over the courts. They appoint all the Chief Justices, all the Superior Court Justices. It was the same for Germany in their name of their highest court, which they used to ruin all opposition, lock them up, and take over the government. Canada, we're a federalism, a crown-powered federalism, not provincially constituted by the people. We have Executive Powers Act. Each province each territory. The territories fall under certain provinces because the provinces were bred out of those territories. When you look at that, there's an Executive Power Act. Lieutenant governors are ultimately the crown authority of the provinces. Who are they appointed by? Governor General of Canada. What's their power? Superior Courts. Have you read the Judges Act of Canada? Oh, it's just like the Supreme Court of Canada Justices Act. In there you find the justices, both of them judge. It tells you who appoints them, who they must obey, and it's Privy Council, who again are they? All the cabinet the Prime Minister appoints. And Governor and Council, who's that? That's Governor General again. Read it all, it'll all make sense. Whoever holds the crown has a bullshit they give to the public and all other political actors, and behind everybody's back they have a Privy Council, completely secret. With their crown Governor General, they have all the justice system, entirely, top to bottom. They have all the military. They have absolutely all the police. Canada, they have all the Senate. Do you think, with that tremendous executive power, we're talking King's Court, King's Senate, King's Cabinet, King's Council, it is no different in Canada than it ever was 950 years ago in the Age of Empires. The illusion of a justice system, the illusion of a democracy, illusion of amendments, because they don't even follow the codified rules. There are way too many. In the paper, you make references to South Africa. Now, South Africa would not amend apartheid, and it was unamendable. They made it, even though it should have been. They just said, nope, it will be detrimental to the country. Well, who gave them that idea? Well, again, guess what? They were designed after Canada. Not before Canada, after Canada's model. We are Canada 1, created by the British Empire. We are old. We are old in the world of constitutionalism. We are very old. We already know how old USA is for we the people, which is a miracle. But when we look at oldest constitutions in the world, Canada is very old. And we are built in the age of empires, a real, living, breathing, colonial constitutional monarchy right out of the nightmare books. Right out of the nightmare books. We've been in plain sight forever and a day for everyone to see. Are we the only ones left? No, there's several. And it amazes me how many people will write about it. And I love what happened with this paper because I have a lot to go in detail with. And I'm going to enjoy Texas. I'm going to enjoy all of this live with these incredible, greatest minds in the world. Would I have liked Russia to be there? Would I have liked to be in St. Petersburg? Of course. But it's not going to happen in the world today, at least not yet. There's more as I build my pamphlets here. I have to have them done this weekend, folks. And it's just going to be so incredible. This weekend, the knowledge I'm getting from great minds, and then the knowledge I'm able to give, like this video, where it's like, it was a con job. If people don't see that, they like even all the reformers, the Alliance, and there's the other one there too, those three parties that led up to the Reform merger and the Conservatives, and it was CPC, and they had eaten all the ones before with the lies and the promises, and then they pulled the greatest con ever, holding that crown, knowing what they have, and it amazes me. Not only Canadians are fooled, but so many political actors. The Conservative Party of Canada is a corrupt joke, but so is everybody. The Liberals, the NDP, anyone who puts that crown on their head is completely corrupted. It is the story of Lord of the Rings. It is the story of Star Wars and the dark side. Don't let the dark side get you. Well, it'll warp you. That is absolutely what it is. Star Trek the Borg, you'll be assimilated. It's exactly what happens with the crown. And it doesn't take very long at all. It's a tremendous amount of ancient power. A sick world that isn't supposed to be here today. And we as Canadians let it go on. We watch experts even talk about it. They think, well, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. Well, these are the greatest minds in the world saying, this doesn't make sense. They didn't follow the Constitution. Why does that work? It's because the political actors are holding the crown. And that's just what they are, Richard Rand. Not only are they actors, they're the biggest liars you've ever met. They can look at you with a straight face and give you a whole swathing load of lie. Meanwhile, behind everybody's back, they're controlling everything easily, like every king in the history of monarchies. It's very old. Sure, to the world, oh, they're very stable. Stable for those wearing the crown and all those that are corrupted under them, the appointments. Very, very stable for all of them, except for the subjects. And Americans should really, really get a tingle there, like goosebumps, like subjects. That's right, Canadians are defined subjects. There's never been a we the people, as there never was any national referendum in 1981. Why did they go with the provinces? And they didn't even go with all, because we all know Quebec didn't sign. They stayed on the 1960 Bill of Rights. What kind of country designs like that? A country that operates not with people, but with a whole class of subjects, slaves, who don't really have any say. And people talk about Canada as a corporation. It's not a corporation. It's you and state. It's you, the subjects, who are the property. You're not even people. That's where myth is Canada. These people talk about Corporation Canada and your registries. It's how the world has to deal with a very old constitutional monarchy called Canada. It's not the only one. You'll see other registries, but it's not that it's a corporation. It's you're all chattel. We are not people like so many other countries who codify them that way. People with human rights. We're subjects. And we have a place. We're third-class subjects. Right out of the Titanic. First, second, third class. All those Boilermakers down on the ship, they just lock the ducts because you're not even people. And then it holds the Titanic for a couple more minutes so that more of the first class can escape. And more than that, there was only enough life rafts for all the third class or first class and only a handful of the second class. So you better be kissing ass. You better be paying it forward to the first class. It's their preferred second class who gets to go. Not everybody, and certainly none of the third class gets to go. They're locked down to give the first class more time. That's the system we're in. That is the country we are. And it's all acting. Political actors, once they have the crown, control it all. No different than Nazi Germany. No different than the South Africa example. And the Allies of World War II, the victorious Allies, had to destroy South Africa. Dismember, remove their elections, void all the political parties. Think about that, folks. Even the Labour Party, the equivalent of NDP, was no fucking good. Now, I hate to say that, but all of them, you read the reports, it's incredible. It was an incredible journey I was on, and it never ends. It's so funny to take the power of these legal minds best in the world. I get to read their stuff, and so much of it on federalism right now, eat it every day for hours and put all that together because they couldn't. They're like, we don't know why your court's the most powerful in the world, but they seem to be able to do this, that, and it doesn't make sense here, it goes there. It's because the political actors have the crown, and that court doesn't operate as any kind of independent judiciary. It's built as a king's court because Canada was made in 1867 off the British Empire that was signed away. World War II, Russia and USA made them do it. Roosevelt and Stalin. They said, you got to get rid of it. read Winston Churchill's papers, read King George VI papers. France fell, another colonial nut job. They became a republic in the 50s. They had to honor the agreement with USA and the former Soviet Union. Russian Federation today had to be rid of it. Many countries got fixed. There's still a few more left to do, quite a few more left to do. And then, of course, there's the crown colonial jewels who still remain exactly as the British Empire was then, are today. Canada is the first one, the worst one. And we exist, and we will continue to do extreme genocides of all kinds of people over and over. The abuse of the subjects and savages will continue over and over. The court system will never make sense. You can analyze some of the biggest decisions ever made and say, oh, it's a powerful court. Of course, it is the most powerful court in the world because it's the king's court. Definitely not an independent judiciary. These justices don't act without being told exactly what to do, whether it makes constitutional sense or not. I'm banking on it. Hitler banked on it for Nazi Germany, and look what he did. Now, I'm not doing nothing like that. We're going to give the power to the people. We're going to not only take King's Court on the Supreme, we're going to take the Superior too. We're going to take all of the Lieutenant Governors. We're going to publish, in the first time ever in Canadian history, not only for Canadians and First Peoples, it's going to be done with all the world. Everyone's going to see it. We're going to publish our Shadow Crown when the election comes. We're going to show everybody and highlight it like you've never, ever seen. Not one Canadian can ever say, yeah, the Liberals published their Shadow Crown. You didn't even know what that was. These tremendous positions, all appointed, they've never published, right? You get to vote for your 338. Did you know there's another 1,000 positions that you don't hear about, who have tremendous powers? Wealthy, private, quiet citizens, all friends of the political elite, all wealthy as hell, and you don't even know who they are. Because it's not like USA. You don't have to run an election with the people and let the people vote for you like Senate and so many more. It's absolutely whatever the Prime Minister wants. All these positions are personal friends of the Prime Minister. You should see the customary laws, those unwritten ones are in secret, of how they choose this stuff. How did I find all this stuff out? The British Empire, the history, and the UK. The UK released all of it. It makes you puke, the amount I've read, and it's disgusting stuff you read. That's my video. I hope it finds Richard and Ran. Either way, if they don't have time to watch it, I'm writing everything down. I'll be sitting down with you folks very, very shortly. Another 8 days. Oh, yeah. 5 long years. And it's funny. I'm going to be able to show everybody and these great legal minds just how much power the political actors have as the proverbial kings and queens of Canada. And the provincial, and why you, the people, never got any national referendums, why they went the route of the provinces, because it's only provincial crown. We're not people. We don't count. We're subjects. You want to find people and citizens, you got to go to the States. You got to get citizenship there. If you don't do that, you're just a subject in Canada. You have no control over your system. You're subject to it. Your chattel, your property, your slave. This has always been the way of these constitutional monarchies, especially ones like ours, ancient 1867, to be modeled after the British Empire. It doesn't say UK today, it says the British Empire. It doesn't exist anymore. So whose empire? It's their crown colonial empire for your Canadian politicians, whomever you elect. You, the subjects, have only 2 rights. Elect your dictator or join a party or create a party in a scheduled election every 4 years. That's all you get. Those are the only two rights. Thanks. That's my video. I know it's late, everybody. Share, share, share. It's huge. It's huge. Unbelievable corruption. It's crazy. Bye now.